And if you can refer to me as Bill Maher the entire interview, it'd be great. Okay, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Very happy to have back on the show. It's been a long time. I think it was during COVID. Patton
Yeah.
Oswalt, very funny comedian, award-winning actor, writer, comedian. Voice credits include Max and The Secret Lives of Pets 2, and Remy in one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not kidding, Ratatouille. And to get a brand new special on Audible, available November 20th, titled Black Coffee and Ice Water. Pat, nice to see you. Congratulations on the new special. It's very funny. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was this latest hour. I'm really happy with it. And I'm really happy that I got to do it as an album. It's audio only. I recorded like an old school album. I love
That's
it.
what that's what it reminded me of. I'm not kidding. It reminded me of when I was a kid listening to comedy albums in the basement of my mom's house. Different,
Hmm.
like Steve Martin. I remember listening to Cheech and Chong or Bob Newhart. And this, we're so used to the visual medium now of watching the comic, and it was just audio. And so you were fine with that. You didn't have any hesitation, like maybe this is not. Maybe people should be able to see me.
Listen, I'm very cool with not being seen. I would way rather have this just be my material and then whatever people are imagining, whatever pictures it makes in their mind. So that to me was very appealing.
And you did this in New York City
In New
before.
York at the Minetta Lane Theater.
Beautiful theater. I saw Asif Manvi's one person show there was
Yes.
produced by Audible years ago.
Yeah.
And when Zohar Mandami gets sworn in, that'll all be banned. Of course, I'm not sure if you're aware of that. As I'm Muslim, so there's only a few things that are going to be allowed. This show, and that's about it.
Well, I'm glad I got it in under the wire. That's all I got to say.
It's very
Very
so.
happy.
You had a funny bit that you opened with about telling the audience fake posts. And it's all tongue in cheek, but you did it because you wanted people to post so that you get back in the country because you're leaving the country, and it was all in good fun, sucking up to Donald Trump. I mean, to put it shorthand. But look, there's a genesis of truth to this, isn't there? About a concern when you leave the country. I've never thought of this in my life before,
No, me
or I've
neither.
actually been worried.
I mean, we are at a point where it's an administration that you can't put anything past. There's nothing that you can't imagine that they wouldn't do if they could. So you think of these almost hallucinatory contingencies of what might happen. So I decided to just do that as a bit and to take it to like a ridiculous level.
It's
It's so when I was in London last year doing shows, and so that's where that bit came from. I just did it one night when I opened one of my shows because I was so paranoid about going back to the States. And then yeah, there's some ego in that whole thing of like, yeah, I am really dangerous. The state's going to try to shut me down. Probably not, but every comedian wants to fancy themselves as this dangerous rebel.
It's true. At the same time, like if they said, I heard they were going to look at your phone, I'm like, you don't have to look at my phone. I will tell you, Donald Trump is a criminal who attempted a coup, incited a terrorist attack, and should die in prison. You don't have to look at my phone for me to
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah,
But then when I saw Jenna Friedman say that she was asked about by
yeah.
Customs Border, like, do you do make fun of politicians? Like, what is going on? And Hassan Piker was detained, according to him,
Hmm.
coming back on the border as an influencer. We even had one of the hosts on this channel was out of the country and emailed me. And I'm a lawyer. I don't practice law anymore, but I have a lot of lawyers on my show saying, could I give him a phone number of someone if he was actually not allowed back in? He was worried. He's very critical of administration. That's not normal. That shouldn't even be in our
Yeah.
mindset.
I think I wrote that bit right when the Jenna Friedman thing happened because it also felt the other thing that's really scary about a lot of this is it's so sloppy and incompetent. I think that that's part of the terror is that someone will detain you because they don't really know any better, and then suddenly you're at a black site and someone's like, "Oh no, that guy was actually innocent," and then you just have some ice guy going, "Yeah, sorry, I guess I messed up, man. Sorry about that." Like the incompetency is part of the terror is that you can just be you could this could turn into Terry Gilliam's Brazil all of a sudden, where a typo sends you to a black site and no one can find you again.
And yeah, and good luck. And who did it? It was a masked man. I don't know.
Yeah,
They didn't have ID on them. I
right.
thought it was interesting also when you open the special with those tongue-in-cheek comments. It reminded me of like in Goodfellas when the FBI is listening to the mobsters, and the beginning of the video, the beginning of their conversation, they would pretend and do things like, "So how you doing? How are things? Oh, how's the wife and kids?"
Right,
And they
right.
hear they click off of the FBI. and then they
Yeah.
talk about their plans, like it's some kind of devious thing there.
Yeah, yeah. I thought was that in Casino or
Maybe it was
I think it was in
Casino or
Casino.
Goodfellas.
But yeah, it was that thing of uh
Yeah, Casino.
the but like at least again, the dystopias and the authoritarian dystopias we've seen in fiction had a level of competence to them. This is just, as my friend Blaine Capatch calls it, this is an open mic administration where you're just fumbling through it. But the fumbling is what can destroy your life.
Yeah, and that's a funny image, the idea of the open mic autocrats, or open mic fascists coming up and
Yeah,
trying their best stuff.
that
Like,
that's
yeah,
that's Blaine Capatch. He came up with that, but that is such a great way to describe all of this.
before your special came out, I saw a clip online where you talked about Donald Trump ruining comedy. And I don't
Mhm.
think it's for the reasons people think, if they
No,
even seen the bit. Why, from your point, I know it's a joke, but why is it that Donald Trump on some levels ruined comedy?
well, because you can't out absurd him, and also you can't make fun of something that part of its appeal is how goofy it's being. I think it made a lot of comedians first because all the jokes were so easy, they were just right there, but that was a trap. They were so easy, and then by the time you come out with your joke, he's done something even crazier, or just the craziness itself. As I say, that Trump administration is basically an 18-wheeler full of monkeys and PCP, and it's crashed into a train full of diarrhea, and then there's just diarrhea covered monkeys on PCP, and then you're like, "Hey, you want to hear a joke about this?" People are like, "No, I'm just gonna watch this. I don't need to hear a joke. Look at this."
It's interesting. I mean, were you ever concerned at any time, not for you as a stand-up, but SNL or others, if they make Trump actually likable through his buffoonish, that it undermines the
Well,
real threatened side?
Trump makes himself likable through his buffoonery.
Hmm.
That's a big element of fascism is, oh, it's just a joke. It's just silly. Why are you getting so wound up? They really weaponize that. Can't you take a joke? And it's how they slip a lot of really evil stuff through.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had experts on Mussolini, and that's a big part of Mussolini. When you watch Trump and Mussolini, the kind of buffoon face,
Yeah,
the posturing, and people laughed at it, but it was part of his charisma and part of his charm. I'm talking about Patton
exactly.
Oswalt about his new special, Black Coffee and Ice Water, released exclusively on Audible, November 20th. So, I mean, you know, we talk about the buffoonness of Trump and the incompetence. If they had their way, Jimmy Kimmel would not be on the air. I
No,
mean, it really was a backlash of people that together we had an impact on it. I mean, what did that say to you? That they really wanted, and Brendan Carr, the FCC chair, they weren't joking. They were going to make an example and get rid of Jimmy Kimmel.
to hopefully quiet everyone else. And now they're doing the same thing with Seth Meyers. And earlier, I think during his first term, didn't he say that it should be illegal what SNL is doing, like the way
Yeah.
that they're making fun, like it should be illegal to do that. So, yeah, he very much is comfortable with just if anyone says anything bad about me, they should be memory hold immediately. And unlike the first administration, he has people in place that are like, yes, I absolutely agree with that.
I agree. That's the difference. In the first term, he would tweet stuff and post garbage. I mean, he called for Saturday Night Live to be canceled and investigated in his first term, like in writing. The FCC, this is election interference. Shouldn't the FCC? And at that time, the people rolled their eyes about it. We learned later.
Yeah, I mean
Now they,
the first Trump's first term had that great feeling of it's like, oh, it's just the crazy grandpa at Thanksgiving dinner, like saying stuff at the end of the table, and then people go, just it's okay. He says that because there were people in place that still were sane and could not even push back, just go, yeah, we're not doing it. Like when I think he tweeted something about we're banning all transgender and gay people from the military, and I think the Joint Chiefs of the Pentagon just said, "Yeah, we're not. Don't worry, we're not doing that." He
right.
just says stuff. But now they went out of their way to get rid of all those people. Like that was their first target was to get rid of the people that would go, "Hey, that's not how we do things, dude." You
Now
know,
they go whatever you want, Mr. President. I mean, you've got
please.
surrounded. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you talked to any comics who've felt there really is some kind of chilling effect or any kind of concern in doing political material at all?
I don't really know of any comedians that have felt any kind of chilling effect. If anything, again, the ultimate irony is when there is an authoritarian to push against it, comedians will always try to push against that, and try to find ways around that. That's that I'm not one of these people that thinks there should be absolutely no restrictions on comedy. Restrictions on comedy are what make comedians think of really clever, nasty, brilliant ways to get around those. It's why people like Lenny Bruce and Carlin and Pryor were so, because they had those restrictions and then found brilliant ways to get around it. So sometimes restrictions can be helpful. Now, when the restrictions turn into dragging people out of their homes and locking them in camps, that's a different thing.
It
So we're
is.
talking about two very different things right now.
The only chilling effect thing that I've seen, and I'll share, is that last week we had the New York Arab American Comedy Festival, and I've been co-producing this Arab American Comedy Festival for like 20 plus years. This is the first year we had comics who were green card holders. They were immigrants in our festival
Wow.
who were concerned. And they said
Really?
that they were concerned, not that someone's going to come. It was at Joe's Pub downtown. I mean, it's not like 1,000 people were there. It's like 200 people. But if
Mhm.
someone videotaped a joke about Trump they did, and it's posted, and it's a very Arab name online, Laura Loomer or some of these people might flag it. And I could
Yeah,
not tell
yeah,
them not to be concerned. After Mahmoud Khalil, they try to throw the guy out of
yeah,
the country for just talking about Palestine in a way they didn't like. So it was
yeah, yeah.
that. So that was the first time I saw real stuff. I'm like, this is, if it ends here, okay. If it continues, it's deeply concerning where this could go.
It really surprised me that a lot of people fell into the trap of, well, if we just give them this, that's all they want is this thing. It's like there's nothing you can give his administration that will make them go, okay, we're good, because they just will always want the next thing. It will, and like history just teaches that over and over again. You can't give an inch because when they do ask for outrageous things, that's just testing how far they can go. If you give it, oh, good, like people notice that the universities and networks who immediately caved to him, he just immediately demanded even more stuff out of them. And the ones who told him to fuck off, he went to the next person. Like that's what you have to do. That they're looking for the people they can keep getting stuff out of.
100%. I mean, and here's a lesson in real life we've all seen from the history books. I think what scares me is that I read too much history. Like, you know
Mhm.
what he's doing? This is page 12 in the
Yeah,
fascist
yeah,
playbook.
yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is not like an event. He didn't make
It,
this up, folks.
if we just give him this, we'll be fine. No, he'll never stop.
Keep it. So I wanted to ask you about, you were on Bill Maher, made a lot of headlines. One of the things that stuck me is Maher said that he doesn't perform anymore. He could get shot by the left or the right. I'm like, okay, no one on the left's going to shoot you. I'm like, who on the left? I don't know anyone like that. Bill Maher.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
That's also it really says something about where our culture is right now and where a lot of online culture is. Bill brought up two things that I wasn't familiar with, and I asked about. I'm like, oh, I hadn't heard about that, and then he talked to me about it, and people are like, this idiot in his like you can't not know something and then ask for information about it like that. Like it's all a gladiatorial sport for them. Like
Right.
it's like, do you know what an interview is? You go back and forth and you learn stuff. It's not that you come in and it's not a quiz show. So these two, so it's so hilarious, like watching them react to a guy asking another guy or saying something and go, oh, maybe I wasn't right about that. Like we're so in a culture now that is so terrified of apologies or admitting like, oh, I don't know this, inform me, and they freak out when someone does it because they're so terrified of being in that position, like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they attack it so hard. So that's been really, really instructive to watch what that reaction looks like in people,
It's
and
that
you can see how insecure and terrified they are.
Well, I mean, you talked about, and I think you really hit on the head in a way talking to Mar. It wasn't about Mar, it's about young men young men, a lot of them are live in a time when they're a little angry, they're a little intimidated by, so they go to bravado. And somehow
Yeah,
Trump taps into that. And that's all
yeah.
Trump does. That's all Trump does all the time. And I don't know if what you're saying, in our society now, they're going to continue to be on the Trump trajectory as opposed to like when we were younger, we were different people. Then you evolve. I hope for the better. I think I'm
Yeah.
for the better. I think you're for the better. I hope.
I
I
again,
don't know.
I have a lot of stupid optimism that a lot of these Again, there was stupid stuff I did when I was young out of bravado, and you get older and go, oh, wait a minute, that was just me being terrified and insecure and trying to overcompensate. So hopefully there'll be a lot of people that turn away from a lot of these kind of, misogynistic influencers and right-wing grifters, and hopefully get old. But the thing that worries me is the opportunities for these, for especially for young, just young people, to build a career and to feel like they have purpose. That's being stripped away by the corporatization of everything. How every opportunity is just being more and more and more narrowed, and with AI and that stuff coming in and replacing people, there might be a permanent group that always will, that'll always be ripe for the picking for people like that. You should do stupid, thoughtless things when you're young. That's how you learn. You don't get experience without bad judgment, but you also have to. There has to be a structure in place so that these people can grow and learn and have a job and build a career and build a business if they want to. And that feels like that's being specifically taken away because there are certain people at the top that go, hey, there's money to be made if we keep these guys angry. There's money in that. There's not money. It's why that, they always want you doom scrolling. There's no money in you if I'm just sitting there like thinking for an hour just by myself or daydreaming. No one's making money when I'm doing that, but they make money if I'm hitting buttons on my phone, so they want you doing that.
Certainly. And in your special, which is called Black Coffee and Ice Water, available on Audible November 20th, you talk about AI and your concerns about the impact on creativity, which I agree. I mean, how do we not get it's going to kill us? I mean, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
How is it not? You can't turn the AI off now in certain circumstances. It has a
Yeah.
survival mode to it, which I'm deeply, my vacuum cleaner never stayed on when I shut it off. Like it never.
Yeah.
If you shut off, this thing, it has life to it. There's something inside of it.
There was something, I remember years ago, I read a review of a book by Ted Koppel called Blackout about what happens when the grid goes down. And I was talking to a guy who specifically worked on the power grids in Los Angeles. And I was like, oh, this review I read was very dire. Like, it sounds like if the grid goes down. And he said this to reassure me, to like make me feel better. He's like, oh, we're past the point of being able to shut the grid down. It is self-correcting and self-healing. We couldn't shut it down if we wanted to. And he was saying that to like make me feel better. And then I felt even more terrified that, and this is an AI. This is just the grid is aware enough to keep itself alive. And if a super intelligence, if its only directive is to, no matter what the cost, prevent yourself from being shut off, well, that's the end of humanity.
Terminator's a documentary. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
War Games, where with Matthew Broderick, I happened to see on cable recently. I'm like, what a great movie. Everyone should have to watch this. It has an okay ending at the end. I mean, but the idea of like the computer wants to learn. You have some really funny jokes about AI learning from the internet and
Oh
racist stuff, which is
God.
a great joke. But
Well, it's AI. The thing that I do accept about AI is it's not going away. We are going to have to live with this thing, and it didn't create itself. We created it. It's a baby, and we got to raise this baby, and we need to raise it with hope and optimism and beauty. And we're not doing that. We're letting it go on the internet all day, and we're raising it like a couple of meth head parents. Like we're passed out on the couch and we're letting it eat gummy worms all day and watch Requiem for a Dream on a loop. Of course it's going to nuke us.
it,
I would too.
right. I mean, I saw that one of the heads of Google said, they asked him, well, how did your AI learn Bangladeshi? No one taught it. He goes, well, we don't understand everything in the human mind either. I'm like, you didn't create the human mind. You
Yeah.
created this thing and it's doing things. It's learning languages you haven't taught it. What else is it learning that we don't know? But last thing before I let you go, I thought you had a very funny thing on Halloween, which scared me as a movie very much. I
Yeah,
found
me
it
too.
so your teenage daughter
Mm.
found humor in it. And what does it say about the young? Because you point out how she found humor in it. She doesn't laugh at people being chopped up.
No,
That's not what it's about. Right. I want to make it clear. That's how, but it was something else. She went to it. I don't know if the younger people are more mature than we are, or they don't fall for the bullshit. I don't, but there was something
well,
about it very telling.
there's been so many. And again, Halloween was a very innovative, very brilliant movie, but even the most brilliant movies have things that become tropes, and then those tropes get kind of picked apart in movies like Scream and stuff like that. So she is post the tropes being picked apart.
Ah.
So when she encounters him for the first time, he's standing in your yard in the middle of the day. Just call the cops. He's standing right there. What are you doing? So that kind of, why are you guys splitting up? Just call the cops. So there's that, you, she has already seen the postmodern versions of all this. So it was, again, no, she wasn't
Ah.
laughing at people being murdered, but she was laughing at some of these characters are very aggressively stupid,
And when you just repeated it, it is like she's like, oh, they robbed the hardware store of masks and
Oh,
and
when
weapons.
the hardware store gets robbed, and the two girls are like, "What happened?" And the sheriff's like, "Oh, it's probably a couple teens playing a prank. They just stole a rubber mask, some rope, a few knives." And she just started laughing so hard. She goes, "Yeah, someone stole a murder kit on Halloween. I'm sure this is going to be fine."
It's very funny stuff.
Yeah.
Patton, it was great seeing you again. The special is Black Coffee and Ice Water, exclusively on Audible, available November 20th. I really recommend it. It's great seeing you again. I hope we'll get to see you
Yeah.
more frequently than every 2 or 3 years. If you ever want
Yeah,
to talk
me too.
politics, whenever you want to talk politics, you're welcome to come on the show. Sincerely, we're really
Thanks,
a
Dean.
political show with a little sense of humor. But
Thanks,
um,
man.
great seeing you, my friend. Take
All
care.
right.
Have a great
Great
day.
seeing you too. Take it easy. Bye.